Illusio's technology in action. So I've put together an example of two different tables, right? And these were taken by doing scans. So that could be through photogrammetry, which is a bunch of photos all taken together and then stitched into a model. That model is very dense. You could imagine a couple million polygons. Or it could be using scanning software like your iPhone with a LiDAR. Two very fundamental different ways to create a scan, but ultimately you have a 3D object that's been created from real world things. This could also be applied to any model that's bought off the internet or anything, right? But let's take the example of two scan tables. Fundamentally different. What I've done is through the ILLUSIO software, I've created what I consider my base mesh that I'm going to use. I've laid out the UVs and I've created the base mesh itself. From that, I actually know everything about it, the size, the everything, because that topology is something that I log into a database. After that's done, it's automatically converted. This process could take about 20 to 30 seconds based on our software solution. But you take your original table after it's been decimated in kind of normal ways just to make it easier to fit through the system. You got maybe 20,000 polygons and 24,000 down to 250 each. They both have the exact same geometric makeup. They've just been created to form into that compression methodology. Now we have two very compressed models. From those models, there's been stripped out texture, right? So we strip out the texture. This is the original texture UV workflow from that scan mesh. You can see it's really disgusting. There's lots of little parts that are all over the place. Fundamentally, it's not a great workflow. You can see after the conversion process, we now have a very clean geometric makeup and a very clean UV makeup. What's really interesting about this is once you extract those things, those are data points at that point. So we have data on our roughness, we have data on our normals, we have data on our color. The great thing is once we have that one classifier of table, any table I take and run it through the system, I can now reuse all this texture data. So I can do things like add stencils on top, right? Because I know that texture geometry makeup. Or I can swap the textures between the two of them, right? So now I've got the texture from one table onto the other, and I've even added a little watermark to it. So you can imagine when it comes to things like any table that you want to add some sort of, you want to make it a dirty table, you want to make it a really clean table, you want to make it a table with a different patterning on top of it, you want to do anything to it. It becomes really simple and really easy. And also, it's completely ready for any web rendered content, any game ready content, any production level content, all within a 30-second compression time. So that's kind of where the real massive adoption can happen here. But great, thank you.